All right, morning, everybody. How you all doing? Oh my God, forget that sounds my damn phone. It is Saturday, August the 15th. Why did I almost say October? August the 15th, and we are back at it again. I'm trying to be classy, not trashy. You know what I'm saying? Morning time is Barry. What's happening, family?
Oh man, I'm sitting there looking at my sleep schedule. They saying I'm getting back to that sleep, man. But I woke up.
Okay.
I woke up early. I done switched my sleep schedule. I'm so man, bro. It feels so good to finally be back in the saddle of sleeping. But I get
So
up
how
so
did
much.
you do it?
Man, it honestly, bro, it was just going back home and just being inspired. Like
Okay.
watch, just being out in the country, and I'm like, if you really want to do something, like my cousin them, they literally have given up their comfortable home to move into a tiny home so that they can build their new home.
Okay.
And I'm like, if you want to have success, you got to sacrifice something. What are you
Something.
what are you willing to give up? And being able to watch them, I was just like, man, every time I come home, I'm like, shout out to my cousin Mike, my cousin Kia. Every time I go home, I'm always learning something from them too. And the funny part about it is people like them that people in our circles may look at and may not look and say, oh, they're inspirational on the surface. But when you know them on a intimate level and a personal level, and you see what they do and how they do it, and how they're always like just cutting edge, they're taking the information that we're putting out and they're not just storing it. You know how you got people that sometimes they just want it for the comments, they just want it for the conversation. They're taking like, yo, this is all right. Well, cool. What's up with the food? Because remember that was a conversation right in here.
Correct.
Cool. We gonna build a 3,200 square foot greenhouse, and we just gonna make our own food, and we're gonna get our own chickens. We're gonna get our own goats, and this is what we're gonna do out here in the country. And you know what? I like fish. I'm gonna go ahead and make a man-made pond, and I'm gonna buy all the fish possible that's gonna reproduce, so I can teach my grandkids how to fish. Listening to them talk, and it's not just him who is my cousin. He's like my big brother. He's my cousin, but I was always he's the baby brother, but I'm the little cousin. I was always up under him every weekend. I was at their house.
Understood.
And so being able to hear not just him but her, and and I'm just like listening, and I'm just blown away. And it's so it's funny because I need to point this out to him next time I go. You may talk to them in different times, but the messaging is still the messaging. And the messaging is not something that they're necessarily in agreement on. And what I mean by agreement on is not like they're sitting down and saying these are our talking points. They're just flowing in this direction, and they're flowing in this direction as a married couple.
That's
And
true.
watching it, and I'm like, boy, they don't do that in Minnesota. But that's another story. That's
Did they
another.
grow up together?
No. It's kind of funny because we were talking. Kia actually went to the same church that Mike went to church primarily. Mike is my father's nephew. And so I went to a different church on the other side of town. But when I would go stay at my auntie's house, or when I would go stay at my grandmother's house, there was the church that my grandmother, my dad's mom, attended. So Kia started attending the church. And when she was saying it, I was like, I don't recall you. Right? Like she was there, and then they didn't even know each other at the church. But our families have intertwined with each other for quite some time. Our grandparents even hung out at the same place. And when she was like telling me, I was like, oh, I know your pops. Her pops was hanging out with my grandfather. And so I'm like, oh, snaps. So it's just it's a small world. But
That it is.
it's watching them, like I said, bro, it's beautiful. So I start getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, Lee. That's my time. I go to bed around, if you call me after 10:30, you probably ain't gonna give me an answer. I'm in the bed. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning now. By 8:30, 9 o'clock, whatever I need to do as far as programming, as far as what I need to do for business is done. I can do work with the community from
Good
9
for
to
you.
12:30, maybe 1. 1 o'clock, bro, my day is pretty much done. I might have to take some phone calls for someone else on their schedule, on their calendar. But what I need to do this week, I got everything knocked out. At 2 o'clock, I'm sitting up like, yo, what am I supposed to do?
Good for you. Good for you.
So,
Good for you. So I was laughed at because my bedtime is 8:30, 9:30. Like I don't give a damn what day of the week it is, 8:30, 9:30, I'm out.
okay.
And yesterday, I was getting phone calls. Yo, what you doing, son? What you doing? I'm in bed, son. It was Friday, though. It's the weekend. What does that mean to me? I understand me. I'm not good at waking up early in the morning. So I have to get sleep in order for me to even act like I have some sense and
Right.
I'm engaged early in the damn morning. So yeah, man, I feel you. I really do feel you. I understand you. One of the things that I've been looking forward to because my vacation is coming up. God willing, the creek don't rise. I get to do everything I said I wanted to do and I need to do. But regardless of how it plays out, one of the things I was looking at was I really need to take care of me financially. It's a lot of low hanging fruit. So I have Aflac,
Hmm.
and every year you go to the doctor, Aflac actually pays you $75 a visit a year. I'm sorry. So I've been with Aflac now for like 5 years. I've never claimed any of that money. And I'm like, yo, that's right. That's just money sitting on the table that I just need to go after, right? So I was like, during my vacation, I really got to knuckle down. I got to lock in, and I really need to take care of some of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Just stupid stuff that I've just been allowing to. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. Well, it's time to get to it now because tomorrow's not promised, and that's just free, literally it's free money just sitting there waiting for me to scoop it up. And there's some other things I need to do. I need to get better with my accounting with respect to the business and my personal life. So I need to clear some of that stuff up. It's almost the end of the year. I really need to start putting stuff together so I'm ready for that. So,
Yeah.
it's been a good revelation, I want to say, over the past 2 to 3 weeks about the things that I need to do. Now, God willing, the creek don't rise. I actually execute on those things and make them into the things that I understood that I needed to do. And now I've done them. But yeah, it really does start with a good night's sleep. You know what I mean? And I'm very proud of you for making that change because it's not easy to make. And then when you look back at it, it's like, well, what was I doing? I wasn't doing shit. I was just up. Now, as everyone knows, I'm a news junkie, so I will get hooked on the news and be enamored by what's going on, what's being said, what's happening here, there. Then we'll get to that shortly. But yeah, man, it's one of those things where you definitely need to break away and see the entirety of it. And you can't do that if you're constantly just running yourself in the ground. We say that all the time. Rodney, he and I talked yesterday. He's like, brother, I'm gonna see you in the show tomorrow. We're gonna talk about. I want to talk about the Social Security Act, and what Social Security actually means, so on and so forth. Cool, let's do it. And God willing, the creek don't rise. He will be with us here shortly, and we'll continue on. You know what I mean? But
Good morning,
that's
Dr. Madison.
that's sweet. Okay. I was about to say morning to the assistant. Morning, good morning, sis. How are you? Definitely. Definitely starts with sleep. Definitely starts with that focus. And like you said, I tend to get more things done the earlier I get up. I just hate getting up in the morning. I hate getting up early in the morning. Dude, that's another reason I joined the Air Force. I tell people that all the time. Like I joined the Air Force so I didn't have to get up early as hell in the morning and I didn't have to do all that physical labor, that running and doing. I'm like, I get the same check on the first 15 y'all fools get. Nah, I'm good. I will sleep in and I will take my ass to work, do my job, and once I'm done, I can just go home and be done with it. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I feel you. I feel you. Sister Rashi, how are you? Are you back in them trenches yet? Morning to you.
Yes and no. Good morning. I am in the trenches. However, I don't have any pupils yet. I don't have any young scribes in my face yet, but I'm preparing myself. It's going, like I told you, it's going to be a kind of a topsy turvy year, in that currently building my new facility where
Mm,
I'll be moving in January. So while I want to settle, I actually shouldn't settle. I can't.
Mm.
I have to have settle because me and the students will be shifting. Uh, come when it get cold here in the new year. So I'm excited, but I'm also, you know how it is. Trump, but Chip Black, and I hate to sound like the dude crying on the internet, but black children are traumatized. Poverty traumatizes, and shift traumatizes. Even positive shift. You should see how kids cry when they mama finally get them a nice Section 8 house, and
Mm.
they got their own room, and it's not fucked up, about Barry, like you've been looking at. When you finally take a family out of what they perceive as squalor, and you move up, even that comes with its own, cognitive topsy turvy flux.
yes.
So I'm looking forward to navigating that. Hey, how about I get an opportunity for children to see their educational plight get better? And
Yes.
I'm looking forward personally to see if it ricochets throughout uh, affect, their apathy levels,
Hmm.
their engagement quotients or whatever.
Hmm.
Not the word salad you. I know what I'm talking about, but I want to see if it make a difference. New,
Gotcha.
as they say, new building, new me. All right.
I don't want to gloss over the gentleman that you talked about that was crying on the internet. Can we talk about that with the two educators on right now? Like
Yes.
one of the things that, but I'll get you all's input first, and then we'll go from there. So the gentleman came on. He's gone viral. He was totally distraught by the fact that he has learners, students in his care that are failing miserably at reading and reading comprehension. And it disturbed him so that it literally moved him to tears. Rashi, you have said too many times, if you have a young person in your life, grab them, get a book in their hands, and see what they know. Encourage them to read. Thomas, you've been in the classroom as well. Is this the state of our children, or did he go a little overboard? Rashi,
Raj, Raj is curly,
since,
so
yeah,
Well,
since
I
she's
mean, okay, so hey, brothers, it was stuff happening in y'all household. You ain't supposed to go out there and tell, right? Like, you tell, but you don't tell everybody. You tell people who can make a positive change in that. If
mhm.
your daddy hit your mama, you don't run and tell the grocery store clerk and all the people at the grocery store. You tell quite possibly the principal.
Mhm.
Because if you look through the authority in your life, you say, who got power to make anything happen? If my daddy hit my mama and it ain't right, you think Big Mama, if she alive, or you think the principal, but you don't even pick no rando police because you already been trained. So I'm saying, when you get on the internet and you cry illiteracy, you can only really do it
Mm.
if you got the chops, if you've been in there, if you've been to multiple districts and you've tried multiple learning processes and you have done all the way from intervention to instructional coach. For real, if you ain't actually even did the house visit and went in
Mhm.
there and saw if it was, you, if you can't address some of what is happening to make a child illiterate, and you just jump in the game and you start crying like, oh my god, it seems disingenuous. And
but
we agree, yes, it's fucked up. Ain't nobody said it was right. Ain't nobody for real said education was good in a long time. But to get on there crying brotherly like that is as bad as the dude. There's been about three dudes who've done this. All of them are homosexual. All of them are gender divergent. All of them are actually African American.
But Raj, my question is simple: is this where we are currently in the classroom, or did he overblow the situation?
No, no, he didn't. He didn't. He didn't. This is not the point. He didn't overblow it. It's real.
Okay, so
Motherfuckers is
we
dumb as hell. Motherfuckers is dumb as hell. I'm sorry.
okay.
The time we spent at home during that pandemic. I don't care what nobody say. The pandemic made all of us dumber as a planet, for real. But definitely America, because we didn't act like we knew anything about it. We act like we had never done the Spanish flu. We act like we had never understood what maintains in a society. We don't do the drills where the bombs is coming, or famine. We don't do famine drills and bomb drills no more.
Yeah,
So
we
we
stopped that
don't
in the 80s.
so we don't understand what it means to have anyway. What I'm trying to talk to you about is not whether or not the children are illiterate. I'm trying to tell you that when you get on the internet and you cry illiteracy, you got to do it sitting on a stack of proof that you have analyzed something other than these are some dumbass kids, because
Oh,
they not as dumb as you think. We just don't have the right test. We don't even ask these kids the right questions for real.
okay. Thomas, what's your take?
So I'll say this, teachers are very egotistical. If you're an educator, your child learning is attached to your ego. Your students learning is attached to your ego. So you take pride and you also take pain in the things that they can't do because it's very competitive. I know from my classroom compared to other classrooms, I wanted us to be the best. And I pushed my students to be better, not only than the ones that were in their grades, but also the ones that were higher. I want to shout out two sisters, um, one Victoria King, and then other Miss Harvey, because they were reading coaches over at Harvest Prep when I was at Best Academy. And I say this all the time: if we had more Miss Harveys and Miss Kings in the world right now, we would have more literate students. It's a level literacy matters. And I would say this from people who came off the plantation. Sometimes, and I've had this conversation in private, and I'll make it public with y'all. A lot of us are too caught up in what's going on around the world. We have a different race. We were told it was illegal for us to read. The fact that we are allowing our children to slide down to illiteracy is not the first priority. It's fucked up. You can eat all the sambusas you want. You can change your name to Mustafa, Hussein, or whatever you want. But you are tasked with a different race than the brothers and sisters that come over here across the pond. Literacy should be number one in our community. If you can't read, you should make sure your children know how to read. You should have books, workbooks, puzzles, and things of that nature. When these folks start saying our kids got low attention spans, I went in the classroom. I taught kindergartners algebra. This ain't something someone told me. This is something I did. And I had a principal who could not understand kids using their imagination during the time that we were reading stories. And why are they looking out the window? Well, that's what it's like when you're listening, but you're imagining. She couldn't comprehend it. A lot of this is based off of the people who have taken a lot of these courses, who have sat into a lot of these. And I do want to say this because people are paid to miseducate
Mm,
people.
mm,
We have to do something about Texas and Florida leading in curriculum creation in in this country. They are rewriting, but they are also reinstituting how you teach. And there's a lot of us who are fine. A person close to me, love her to death, said that it's okay if kids don't know how to spell. I don't know how is it okay if our children don't know how to spell.
mm.
I don't
You know,
understand.
I felt that same way when they told me that we're not supposed to teach multiplication because most apparat, because everybody's allowed to use the calculator. So
Mhm.
it's more important to know that it's more important to know that this is the time that I use more multiplication than it is to know 0 through 12 or whatever what that actual number is. They
Mhm.
say focus on making the child figure out it is at this time that multiplication is needed, not 3 times 4 is 12. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that the whole thing about how they want us to arrive, it is a diversion from really how you arrive. And that's the struggle. And so the parents are teaching kids things that they didn't learn in different formulas that they weren't taught. It really strips the basis of what education is supposed to be like. And because somebody's getting paid to do it, everybody's okay with it. And I think that that's a major struggle. I don't know what's going on with my camera. I think I froze up here. So let me try to figure this
Yeah,
out real.
I was just sending you a private message about that. We got your voice, but your face is frozen. That's okay. That's okay.
Well, it
Now
could
you and
be.
Rashi are the same. It's just me.
I thought you was telepathic, man. I was thought you was telepathic. I was like, oh shit, he done busted the matrix.
This,
He's in.
this
He's
mother
in.
became a ventriloquist. Ain't this some
Hey,
shit?
cause they say now that this AI is able to tap in and do some shit that it wasn't programmed to do. When we tell it to shut itself off, it be like, nah, son, and it go and
Right.
open itself off and go and open up McDonald restaurant, open a source where it do whatever it got to do to live. So I was like, well, maybe it's doing you anyway.
Thomas Thomas
Yes,
Barrett
brother.
enjoyed the Matrix.
He done busted open the matrix. Finally took the blue pill. Is it the blue or
So
the red? Anyway,
my take is I worry about screens and screen time. I think kids are comfortable with not improving their reading skills because even now, if you log on to an online newspaper, you have the option of it being read to you. You don't have to read it anymore. And that's becoming more and more prevalent. Not all, but more and more prevalent. That's becoming more of the norm, where you can literally have a news story read to you that is right in front of you.
Brother
I
Lee, do
believe.
you know someone who is functionally illiterate? Do you know anyone who has managed to make it semi comfortably
I would not comfortably.
without beyond, I'm gonna say beyond a third to fifth grade understanding? Do you know anybody who's functionally illiterate?
I would say functionally illiterate, yes, but I would say those people are not comfortable. They're making it, but they're not comfortable. I would point to some family members of mine whom, when challenged with comprehending certain minor concepts or words, they get frustrated easily. Man, I don't understand what they talking about. What's this word? And like, really, dog? Like that's just um fraudulence. Something simple. That's just a simple word. And yes, Sister Novell, yes, they are very angry people. Yes. And it's like, I don't get why you stuck on that and why you give up so easily, or even in conversation. Man, I don't understand what these people talking about. Talk to these people, man. You deal with that. I don't like dealing with them people. Who's them people? Why don't you like dealing with them? And I think it goes back to them being functionally illiterate. They are above ground. They're not living on the streets. They have shelter and they have some means to them, but they will always cap out at a certain tier because, in effect, they are illiterate. And instead of them being patient with themselves and the world, they get angry, just like the sister just said. They're ready to fight or argue or whatever, and they tend to have somebody near to them whom will be sympathetic to them to help them out. I've noticed that over the years, without a doubt.
Brother Barry, we were discussing functional illiteracy.
I was watching y'all.
How about, is there something you can add to that? Like what have is your experience with someone who they're not starving to death, but they're not, but you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, Brother Barry.
So one of my former in-laws, he is a functional illiterate, but you can't cheat him out of money because his mathematical skills and money are supreme. And he works in a factory inside of Aberdeen, Mississippi. And I met another brother from Aberdeen, Mississippi, who also was a functional illiterate, but you couldn't cheat him out of money neither.
So is Mississippi the common connected between us?
No, because I know some.
Hey, watch yourself now,
I
because
would
I'm
say,
Sunflower County now. Watch yourself.
I would say because where I'm from in Indiana, literacy was such a big deal that it's hard to find people in South Bend that's illiterate because of Notre Dame. The school pushes literacy at a higher rate, even than what I see here in Minnesota. Literacy is not pushed like reading and comprehension. Like people in Minnesota, I love y'all, no disrespect, but comprehension skills is not high here, Rashi. They don't. You get what I'm saying?
What you say? You're not amongst a bunch of
No,
over analytic, critical thinkers with
no,
scholarly tendencies, huh?
no. A lot of stuff here is everything they take it figuratively, and it's a generational thing too, because the younger you get, everything is literal. But when you go back, even those who are older than me, I would say that the elders who are older than me, maybe those in their 50s, and they're more, as far as comprehension, they're sharp. But a lot of my peers and after that, yeah, it's not their fault. It's kind of how the curriculum, and I think that's something that we don't talk about with education a lot, is curriculum and the training, you know. But I see we got Novell. Hey, what's up, Novell? How you doing? But I will say, y'all, say that there are functioning illiterate people here, but we could eradicate that honestly if we focus more on it. One of the points that I wanted to make before I got off, someone was saying that it doesn't matter if the kids know how to spell the words as long as they can sound it out. Like, no, it matters if you can spell the words. And I get that English is not our language. I know that English is a bastard language at the same time, but there is a standard that should be put in place. There's a threshold. And when you constantly lower that threshold, lower, 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 and lower that threshold, you're going to create a literate class of people. And Lee is right. Less screen time, Lee. I went to a Jewish school that just got shut down in Edina a couple of months ago. And when I went to that school, they didn't allow screen time. They had old chalkboards, they had old maps, they didn't have calculators, and those kids were sharp. And ironically, it was some black kids that were going to that school, and they were killing in that classroom. So I say this respectfully because when you allow Silicon Valley and these tech giants to influence your kids, their kids are going to more schools like that Jewish school than your kids are going to. They're putting the tech in your because what they're doing is telling you there's a consumer class and there's a producer class.
Yep.
The consumer class, they all got all the laptops, the tablets, the iPads, the iPhones, the Android phones. But the producer class, they say, my kids can't have that until a certain age. I need them to have books. I need them to do puzzles. I need them to go meditate. I need them to get out of classroom instructional time. They need 2 hours in these private classes. And I learned that in high school. Let me tell y'all something. They used to have this thing called where you can go visit high schools. I had a good friend of mine. He should have, Hisley, this is something funny. My boy was having Lou Holtz call him on Fridays. He should have went to Notre Dame, but he was white girl crazy, and he didn't understand that St. Mary's was right across the street from Notre Dame. And I said, brother, if you want white girls, there's plenty of them in South Bend. But anyway, with that being said, he was going around to multiple schools. We go to St. Paul Academy. I go to St. Paul Academy on a Friday. These kids had breakout periods where they did no classroom. All they were doing, like they could do production, video production. They could go to the gym and hoop. They can do acting classes. They could just go sit down and meditate and have no instructional, right? And this was within the same frame of school time. Now, mind you, I'm in public school. I'm a North High at this time. This is my freshman year. We didn't have that space. We didn't have no space where it was consistent, right? And here's this tech stuff. I say that to you all to say part of our issues as a community is that we need to stop producing more consumers. We need to produce producers, and we need to see what are the producers feeding their children so that we stop consuming so much. I know that people think that I'm harsh on vacations. I'm not harsh on vacations. I'm looking to go take me a good one sometime soon. But I do feel like we have spent more of our time on leisure and how to get to leisure than how we can get to power. Forget the performative stuff. The performative idea is what we're dealing with in education. The performative idea is your kid, somebody just gave the school $100,000 in iPads. Great. Your kids got $100,000 in iPads and none of them are reading on grade level. How does that help?
That's a bro. We're in trouble now. Rodney's up, and we talking about reading. Rodney, what are your thoughts? Do you see the viral video of the brother, the teachers crying, upset that his students were not able to articulate a thought based off reading comprehension and reading?
No, I did not see the video, but it does remind me of what I see in real life and what I hear in real life. And one of the key phrases that grabbed my attention some years ago as I was speaking to younger people was they would be in the process of explaining something to me, but often they would end up with, I don't know how to say it. And I thought, just say it. This is what was going through my mind. And as I was going to the different schools and I started encountering this more and more, I realized that, wow, our children are having problems getting whatever is up here through here. And if they're having problems getting it through here, then are they able to get it through here? And sure enough, that has become a problem. And it is a huge problem. Uh, then one final antidote. Years ago, before we started doing the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Candlelight Vigil, I was at a school and I'd been asked to speak. And in my talk, I had mentioned Dr. King. And I kind of said, as almost as a throwaway line, everybody knows who Dr. King is, right?
And they were like, nope.
The response shocked me. Some people said he was the first black president. And you can imagine the rest of the list. And that was actually part of the genesis of why I started doing the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Candlelight Vigil here in Las Vegas, is because I realized, and these were elementary school students, that if this continued as they matriculated through the public school system, once they became adults, there would be no memory anymore of Dr. King, and how tragic that would be, especially in a city that had just erected a larger than life statue of Dr. King, one of the most unique in the entire country. And so, though I didn't see that video, I have felt that brother's pain when trying to communicate with young people, to hear them not just say, I don't know how to say it, but in fact, not know how to say it.
Yeah. I think that it should be mandatory that we go back to pushing literacy as a cool thing in our community. I do.
So, Brother Barry, it's interesting you say that too, because as I was listening to you tell a story, my children went to school in Utah.
Mm.
Utah obviously is a heavy Mormon populated state, the whole state. And less than 1% of the residents of the entire state are minorities, with us being a part of that 1% at the time. But they had very little technology in the schools. Also, their funding was not what we normally would have associated with pupils, right?
How was it set up?
What's that?
How was their funding set up?
No, it was just a much less, a much smaller amount designated per student.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got you.
And it was under the suggested framework of what would be make for a properly educated child with X amount of dollars. But my children read. Now, part of that was because of their home life, to be quite honest, but it was also reinforced in school. So, though I gave them books at home, and I remember, matter of fact, my daughter still tells the story of how I used to read to her, and then she would call her mom because I'd fallen asleep with the book on my face, and she had to finish reading herself. But my daughter read so much that they had reading competitions, not just spelling competitions, but they had reading competitions. And my daughter won first place, which was a full expense paid trip to Washington, D.C. Five-star restaurant, limousine, food paid for, Library
Nice.
of Congress, got to visit our senators, the whole nine. She did that from reading. So when we transferred to Las Vegas, the fifth largest school district in the nation, a lot of technology, much higher per pupil expenditure, same grade from Utah to Las Vegas. Where my daughter was academically and reading was here. Technology, funding, my daughter, the rest of the students were there. One of the other interesting things was in Utah, you didn't necessarily have to have a college degree to be a teacher. You had to have the ability to learn, communicate with children, and a desire to teach children. You could start
I
off
like that.
as a assistant teacher, I think teacher's aide or something like that. And they had this path where you could work your way up. And then as you've proven disability, then they would pay for you to go to school and you could become a licensed teacher. So what was being told here in Las Vegas, that was a necessity for educators as well as for scholars, turned out to be 180 degrees different from the environment in which I left, with those students and educators doing better.
But look at the debt too incurred by those folks who um, wanted to become educators from the beginning, and let's say they got into it but did not feel a love or passion for it, so they invested their money into something that 2 3 years down the line they were like, yeah, I ain't feeling this no more, and go and do something different. So I, I dig it. I think that's smooth as hell. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that I said, not only about the let me get this off. Not only about the electronics piece, but I continued by saying I think we're falling into a trap where technology is truly making it super simple. Now you don't even have to read a story that's in the newspaper. If you go online, it'll read it to you. Now, you know, these kids and some adults, this is one of the reasons I hate texting. We don't even spell words all the way out. It's so many abbreviations. Words are purposely misspelled, and that's become the new spelling of the word. When did love be? When did we start spelling love LUV? That's not love. That is
Well, I mean,
not love.
it's slang.
When,
But
when
it's slang,
yeah,
but you got to keep in mind though. Part of it is the technology, but the other aspect of it is when are we asking people just in general to do the long form of anything? And
correct.
and that's the problem. And again,
Except for working
well, because
and sex.
but see, here's the thing with work, it's because it's a benefit for what they have you doing. So they're going to have you do it to the max.
Right.
The other side of it is because Rashi asked about the literates or illiterate people who are doing well. These things are supposed to be, ways to help you in the long run. And I feel like a lot of what we're seeing when it comes to education and why he was so frustrated and upset was when we had that bust or that boom of charter schools. This is what came with it. Charter schools, I'll stand on this. I'll die on this. Charter schools are going to be as much of an epidemic for the black community as crack cocaine.
I agree. And you know what? When they fail, don't nobody say a damn thing. We've had three chronic charter school failures here in Kansas City. And when those children matriculate back into the district, which is where they go, there's nowhere to go from from the blessed charter school, even if it's parochial, but back into the district because the private schools don't take them with or without the voucher. Okay? When we get them babies, and they've been specialty trained. Some of them been trained STEM. You know what I'm saying? And they ready for something in their hand. And we put a pencil in a paper, and they've been putting clay and bendy straws and cotton swabs, and you know, understand what I'm saying? They've been learning by their hands, manipulatives, and then they're put in an environment that is very manipulative, low, and they mad, but they mad at people who trying to do what they've been doing at this campus. The specialty behavior of the charter school can be successful. I ain't gonna hold them, but when they fail, it ain't nowhere for them babies to go. They got trained, brother Barry, in sports, kinesthesiology.
Yeah.
Most of their classes be where they be doing push-ups and shit in math class, right?
Mhm.
And so when we tell them, sit your ass down, Johnny V. And he was like, no, I used to be able to do, and it's a legitimate game. I've done it before, where you dance the answer out. I know it's hard to conceive, but if the answer is 153, 100 is a clap, all right, right. The tens place 50 is a wiggle in the hips, and the three spot, the 10 spot is a stomp on your feet. So when you do the math, you stand up and you do a two dabs, wiggle, 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 and a stomp on your feet, and that's you giving out the answer. That's how Montessori and charter learning be happening. But when we bring those failed till the schools, the children from those failed programs back into the district, where we've been having Johnny sit down in that goddamn chair and put pencil to paper, or even worse, like Lee said, like you said, putting fingertip to tablet. It don't hit for them. It end up being an academic deficit for at least 2 years, while they shift for the difference in teaching modus operandi. So I actually hate charter schools, and I think they should only get about a 20% wiggle room with what they do different from what the state has said need to happen, because by the time we receive these children from where they got to garden all day and they was dancing around in math class, and they was able to, not bad programs, I'm not knocking the shit, it works sometime,
It's
but
after school. It's after school programs being sanctioned as if they're actual classroom stuff. And I will say this because I do shout out to my people at Harvest Prep. Shout out to Fair Academy that's going away, and shout out to Wise Academy. Those are three charter
Oh,
schools
why is Ferris Academy going away?
because they're just budgeting. But Fair Academy was a great man. They were cooking here, and I worked over at Harvest. And shout out to Mr. Mahmoud and Miss Dr. Mahmoud. And I'll just say this much, y'all. Our parents do have to get more intertwined in their children being better students than them. And until we do that, we have to really, this is the standard setting that we've lost. It's not okay for your kid to have to sit in the room while y'all blowing one, killing his or her brain cells.
Smoking weed. Smoking
I,
weed.
I went
You,
a different direction.
you threw the old head off. Rodney was like, what the
Yeah, my bad. And it's also not fair for your student to not be pushed to be as smart as they can be based off of some of these things. And I'll add this last piece on charter. It's because of the special ed dollars. And the special ed dollars, they're trying to get the funding so you can pay for everybody on the staff. You almost have to treat all the students like they're special ed. And if you're treating them all like they're special ed, then you're not necessarily making them gifted. You're not pushing gifted courses. You're not saying these are gifted people. As a matter of fact, in some of these charter schools, they won't even use the word like consequence or failure or things of that nature. And I think that that hurts our children because kids like it to be real. And I've, if you ever taught, and Rasha, you know this, if you tell a kid they good at something and they know they're not good at it, they will tell you, you're lying. I suck.
Man, they will give up. I saw more than one child back away from their dissection. They was like, I asked them 5 times, can we do this? Can you cut this frog open? They was like, yeah, 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 it's just a frog. When it was time to actually cut the frog open, they realized that this is more than, this is on a higher level. You understand? This is some new neural networking that they do not easily lay down. And yes, you will get fight back. You sure will.
Okay. All right. Well, I wanted to get into that because Rashi, you broached it earlier when you mentioned the gentleman as you started in on your bit this morning.
Hmm.
But
Right, but you
it
know
was
what? I'm
really,
sorry that I even did that because before we end this time, I like to end it here. He's not actually a real teacher. He's one of them. You remember that program you just got through talking about, Brother Rodney, where they ease you into teaching from another
Mhm.
profession? Darius is a culinary internet chef. His name is Chef Darius Cooks. He started off as a hospitality dude. He built his chops in cooking, and he then rebranded himself and shifted over into education, which is not wrong. I did it too. I was a research scientist that went into teaching myself. Okay, so but what I'm saying is, don't come in. I'll say it last time. When you get ready to get on the internet and run people through, and I don't care what subject you're talking about, Beaton had some time in on that. Being able to talk about stuff that you, as strategies that you had tried to put forth, like hooks on phonics or something. He ain't hooked shit on phonics. He ain't hooked shit, but something into a skillet. So when
Mm.
he coming in crying, he coming in crying because he didn't know what had happened was. He didn't know what had happened was because he knew, and he just switched it up. So I'm not making excuses for our literacy. I'm just saying getting on the internet on that bullshit is mad weird. And if I'm right now, if I'm uh 16, 15, and 16, and I'm having issues with navigating my world because of my literacy levels, he ain't doing shit for me.
Okay. Well, speaking on navigating the world, let's pivot to the vast and ongoing seas. The USS Abraham Lincoln has been afloat for 9 months. She deployed from San Diego last year, and her last port of call was 11 December in Guam. She has been afloat ever since. The challenges with this are major. They have had challenges with water, be it availability, be it hot, cold, name it, they've had it. Provisions, food, sanitary hygiene needs or necessities are a challenge. And obviously, you're looking at mental health issues. The Department of the Navy recommends that deployments last no more than 7 months. Now, that's been broken. I'll get to the specifics. I got that all written down. But that's the number that they go with. Well, last time I checked, y'all, 9 was greater than 7. Let's be clear on that, right?
So Lee,
And
that's the old math or the new math?
I know, right? I know, right?
That's the man.
We need to figure out what's going on around this piece, right? Well, there have been reports of an increase in suicidal attempts. There have been reports of literal feces being taking over the ship. There had been so many reports. Uh,
Don't you just throw the boo boo on the side of the ship? Maybe I'm tripping. I'm sorry.
shit, shit, your ass will be in that damn water. One of the propellers hit your ass. Them should be moving, man. So no, you do not
I'm
want to do
tripping.
that.
I just thought. I'm sorry. I thought we just was flushing. I literally thought that ships open up some kind of back flap and the shit just go in the ocean. I'm sorry.
No, that I don't know where you got that one from, but that ain't nowhere near. No, but anyhow, um, Congress has gotten involved. Families have gotten involved. This is a fucking mess, literally and figuratively. There's no other way of saying it. It is
It's a
it is a
pile
hot
of.
ass mess. Huh?
It's a pile of.
Yes, it's a pile of, as Rodney would say it, bovine defecation. It is a whole pile of bovine defecation. So the Navy has deployed another carrier to replace it. They took that carrier from the Pacific, had her do a turnaround, get their asses over there to do uh, the business of them. This does not take away from the fact that Gerald Ford just came back a couple of months ago after completing one of the longest deployments since the Vietnam era. This does not take away from the fact that by the time the Lincoln Old Abe actually docks, it will probably surpass the Ford's last deployment. This does not take away from the fact that over the past few years, deployments have gotten longer and longer and longer. Now, let's understand something before you couch potatoes, you woulda bees, I should have joined mother mofos start to chopping in. We all know as veterans who's raised that right hand that we got to do what needs to be done. We all understand that. We all also know that this is a different time. We just talked about how these kids are different with literacy. These kids are different all the way around. I want to say to you before I let everybody get in, I think this though is a ploy. I say that because I said when these cats got in that they were going to kill jobs so people would not have an alternative but to serve. As you talk, as you listen, as you pay attention to the concerns being raised by the families, by the media, what about retention? What about retention? What about retention? What about retention? Spirit Airlines just shut down. You worry about the aviators? Where the hell they gonna go? FedEx and UPS were firing pilots not too long ago. Where the hell you think they went to? And then Spirit shut down. We're getting flights cut from this airline and that airline. Who bought Sun Country recently? That was
Oh wow! Didn't know they had been sold. That's up by you, brother Barry.
yeah, it wasn't a Velo, but it was no, it was who bought Sun Country? Begins with Allegiant. Allegiant bought Sun Country. They're shedding routes. Everybody's shedding routes. So where are the aviators going to go? Now, the maintenance staff, now that's a different story. There's a huge need for maintenance staff worldwide. They can get another job. You know what I mean? But as far as pilots are concerned, I don't know where else they're going to go. And then if you look at them just retiring, okay, that could happen, but that's always going to happen. And that is going to be, I think they're going to be more replaced by drones than anything, to be honest with you. When you think about the younger folks getting out, deciding not to re up, I have a cousin right now, degreed, certified in so many things, clearance, whole nine. He ain't got no job. He ain't got no job. And he's been looking for a job for over a year. And he ain't got no job. He says to me jokingly a couple weeks ago, he said, cuz I'm thinking about going back in. I'm telling y'all, they are making this so you have very few options but to join. You know what I'm saying? It is tighter and tighter and tighter out here in Trump's economy, because this is Trump's economy. Marlon says, I know a few people in the same shoes, Lee. Yep. Jamar says, the more of this country is bad. The morale of this country is bad. You're absolutely right. Do we expect anything different from this administration? For real, for real. Go ahead, Thomas.
This is what the country vied for.
Yep.
This is what happens when you don't take responsibility and accountability for your citizenship.
Yep.
This is what happens when you even invite more people into the country who don't have no accountability and responsibility for their citizenship as well. Voting matters. Voting matters. And this is what happens when so many people says F voting. Voting matters on a local level. Voting matters on a national level. But so many people have mailed it in. And what is your civic duty? You know what a duty means. That means it's something mandatory that you must do. And a lot of Americans don't believe that they have a civic duty, except to stick their hand out. And now you're getting shit in your hands, and now you're mad because you're getting shit in your hands. Accountability matters. And I do want to say RIP to the young man who jumped off the ship at 19 years old. He was on that ship too long. And his letter is, what he was writing to his wife. You could detail, just reading his letters as they progress, that he was going to kill himself because he was saying he didn't know how long he could do this. And at first he was saying that he wasn't going to re-enlist. And then he said, not only will I not do another tour, I don't think I'm going to make it through this tour. He should have got help. But under Pete Hegseth and his military, this is what it's like. Up. It's not man up.
But that's what their that's what their thought process is.
This is just coward talk.
Mm-hmm.
In the streets, the guys that's talking about killing all the time, they're not killers. In the military, the guys that's talking all that tough talk, they probably ain't the type of folks that's going to go out in the theater of war. And I think that's what we're seeing here. And the Congress, as well as the Senate, need to intervene, but they won't. The Republicans have done everything under this administration to show you all that they are willing to tank the country. And I'm thinking about our Navy, and I'm saying that the Navy can't guard the seas. We're fucked. If you are overstressing those guys, I don't care, Lee, if the UPS guy come out there, if the FedEx guy, they will blow his ass in the smithereens. You got a job, you just next up to die. If you're putting that type of stress on the people that's there now, the trained people who are volunteering, the involuntary won't be better.
Say that again.
And that's something to me that I feel like we have accepted way too much talk. And we always say it like it's just mandatory. It's got to be that way. We don't have to let Elon Musk become a trillionaire. We don't have to let AI take over. It's just all about, at some point, as they say in the ghetto, when are Americans going to grab their nuts and do something? Because what I see is just you want these people in touch with their feelings? Well, great. You got a bunch of gentlemen here, a bunch of pussies that ain't going to do nothing. They're going to sit up and they're going to cry. I'm just telling you what we got. You want people in touch with their feelings, their inner person? This is what people are talking about. You want these healed people? Well, healed people are typically controlled people. I'm just trying to let you guys know, you want to tame the inner beast. You need men out here being aggressive now against this crazy regime. Don't talk your sons into being cowards, because I'm just telling you, what I'm seeing, they are really bullying the members who volunteered. And this is also what happens, Rodney, when you get away from the top of the military before he got in. Now, go look at the suicide rates in the military under the Trump regime. Go see how each year, going back to 2017, the suicide rates creep under this clown because he never served and he has no respect for people in the military. I just rested there because
I want to get Marlon's comment in before anybody else speaks, if you all don't mind. Being a retired sailor, I can tell you if they reported a dozen sailors are having mental health issues on the ship, multiply that by 4 or 5. Yeah, true that. Absolutely. We ain't ever going to um, get the whole story from the outside. That's never going because they don't want Congress all up in their ass. They can deal with the outside, but not all up in their ass. Nor do they want the voters in a turmoil right now. But I think this is truly a story that the Democrats need
Have
to
you,
run.
Brother Lee, have you heard about the 7 dead black dudes on the ship? The
No.
seven. I sent the thing to you on the messenger, but
Okay.
it's some people being there are reportedly now 7 deceased uh black. All right, let me do it right.
Keep going. Okay, so you're talking about the rumor.
The
So
casualties are having.
Iranian media outlets claim that 7 U.S. Navy personnel died and several others were wounded in a knife fight following a tense crew gathering over an extended deployment. That's what you're talking about. So
Okay,
that
is that
has
what I'm
not.
talking? Is that what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that has not been confirmed as of
It's
yet.
unconfirmed. Okay,
Right.
all right.
So we'll
I listen. That's what
we'll
I
hold
told too.
off
I
on
said
that.
because when they get
No,
to
no problem.
they pop in them videos and you get in you get in the
Right.
scroll flow and you get to you try to double back to the article, then that has to double back to another article and you get into this weird rabbit hole. So I was just trying to see if you had rabbit holed it and
No problem.
found out
But
about the 7 dudes. Yeah.
but again, we'll talk about that if it becomes confirmed. Um, we so Ronnie, you've been deployed. Obviously, you have a Purple Heart because of your deployment. How I've been deployed. How how do you see this from your perspective?
They always tell us that leadership starts from the top, and I
Yeah,
think
that's how
they
it used to be.
also say that the rot starts at the head first, and this is an example of both of those. When you have people lying about the condition of the troops, you had the draft dodger say that the ship has not been out long enough, not just that it hasn't been out long enough, that it should stay longer. He also said there was not a problem on the ship. So I said, okay, so if there's not a problem on the ship and the ship should stay longer, why are you pulling out our stopgap from the Pacific where we know China is edging towards Taiwan? Why are we pulling that ship out to go to the Middle East? Obviously, there's a reason to make a stupid move like that,
Very stupid.
right? And so what I say to this is I actually think there are going to be more reports, not less, and rightfully so. Um, Parents, spouses are going to be blowing up congressional phone lines talking about the stories that they've already gotten from their loved ones. Uh, I was in a I was in a test, and what they did was they separated us from everything for 30 days. They limited the water available and the bathrooms available for just 30 days. Morale took a major hit. You didn't have enough water. You couldn't take baths. You couldn't clean your clothes. You weren't getting your mail. I mean, just the things that you would associate with it, and morale just went down. But when morale goes down, performance goes down. When
Yep.
performance goes down,
People
safety
die.
issues
People
rise,
die.
injuries increase, and the potential for death, because these are dangerous jobs. All of those, it's a domino effect, and it's a snowball downhill to nothing good. And but I just want to cap it off with the fact that they are lying at the highest levels of government. They are lying about it, and there
In
are
our face.
actually being hurt, and it also impacts national security because that boat that's been kept out there too long, some of the major, because the seas are rough on boats, maintenance now has backed up, and now you're going to take another ship out of another theater and bring it over, and they didn't even say that the USS Abraham Lincoln was coming home. And a part of all of this is their own making, because one of the reasons why they're not able to go to port is because there is no port available for them to go to. That is why they're stuck out there so long. So we need more citizens to see the military as not something abstract and far away, but we need, because only about 1% of people served, only about 3% of the people are related to the 1% that serve. So you have a microcosm of people who have any direct association with it. So now we need more people to get involved, because this military does not belong to the president. This military belongs to the American people, and it's about time the American people exercise their civic responsibility to ensure their military, our military, is properly taken care of, and especially not being sent to wars of convenience where these things are happening in the first place.
Now, can
Go
I
ahead,
talk
Thomas.
about punk Democrats? Let me talk about the punk Democrats for a minute. Because if ever a time for you to intersect and get the military on your side,
Yep.
here's the time. With a full out plan, a full out condemnation of what's happening under Trump, and you almost have to tell them, you put us in the Senate, you put us in the Congress, Hexet ass is grass. He's gone. We can guarantee it. We just need the votes. We'll get
Yep.
his ass out the paint, and we will
Yep.
prosecute him for whatever happens to your children. You want to win the military people over? There you go. You tell the military folks, we're going to stop shortchanging you on your benefits. We understand that. Their ass is grass. We need the Senate, and we need you to have our back, because when we throw them outside on their head, instead of you taking up arms against us, you stand with us and take arms against them. That's the conversation. If you
Yep.
don't got the balls, again, I keep talking about these gentlemen that everybody wants. You want these guys in tune to their feelings. The in tune to the feelings guys, they don't think this way. The military is in a poor shape right now because of this guy, because he's never served. And so when you start seeing kids are killing themselves on boats, when you start reading this story, this young man is 19 years old. He just got married. He didn't even have a chance to enjoy even his wife and his kid. Like I'm reading it, I'm like, damn, like to really put somebody through this, and then for him to come out and say, well, they're not out long enough. I'm like, where's the senators at on the Democratic side to say that this is some BS? Where's the congressional members to call them out and say, man, you's a coward. You use bone spurs as a way not to serve, and you got the
There you
nerves
go.
in this. That's where you win the country back. And to me, this idea of lip wrestling constantly over what's happening with Iran and Israel, that's cool. But Americans care about Americans. That's one thing that we know. And you got to be able to have that conversation. He said, point out his hurt. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and everybody knows that about him, that he didn't serve. But when you see what's going on, y'all, it almost seemed like one side is throwing the fight, because they on paper, they have all the measurements to win the fight. But what I'm seeing across the board is they're not throwing a punch. There's no jabs being thrown. There's nothing. We should, when we get off today, we should go on MS Now. We should be able to go on CNN, Fox News, CBS, ABC, and this should be the conversation from everybody in the Democratic Party. You have to take away this patriot idea from the Republicans. You have to show people this is how unpatriotic they are. Look at how they're treating the troops. Then look at how they're weakening us inside of the seas by moving these ships around for a war that we did not need to have. Look at how many times they said we won the war, then we got to re-engage in the war. We won the war. It's a peace, and now we back at war. It's a bombing camp. Now you know they don't know what they're talking about, and they're putting your children in harm's way. And by the way, look at the record deficits that they're running up as they are practicing playing president. If you can't say that, then we need to vote everybody out. We just need to vote everybody out. I seeing that story last night because I knew we were going to talk about it, and so I did my research, and just the more I found out about this story, Lee, it just crushed me, man, because I'm just like, damn, you put these kids in this situation, and they're not asking for anything unfair. They spent too much time at sea. They should be back. And you guys know, serving out there, you out there too long, man. In any situation, if you're out there too long, man, you start seeing ghosts.
So there are two tours in the Air Force that are considered the roughest. Kunsan Air Force Base, which Rodney and I were at.
You haven't been packed until you've been wolf packed.
Been wolf packed, baby. And Incirlik. Incirlik is in Turkey. So Incirlik is a 15-month tour. The Korea at the time was a year, so now we know it's 2 years, but it used to be just a year. Both of them, though, offer you what is called a mid tour. So roughly halfway through your deployment, you are expected, you are encouraged to go home. Go home, ground yourself, get your mind right, come back, finish it up. Both Rodney and I want to speak to that. I think we Iron Man. Didn't you Iron Man Korea?
15 months the first time, 12 months the second time.
Yeah, so I did 15 months, and he did 12 straight. The reason I bring that up, the reason I speak to that is because, to your point, Thomas, the military knows better. They know that for you to operate like they need you to operate, you need time to let loose. And that cannot happen in theater. If it happens in theater, bad things tend to happen. Bad things tend to go along with that. This is why the Japanese want us out of Okinawa, because of incidents that have happened in theater. So for deployments to go and go and go and go and go, it's not good. To Rodney's point, it's not good on the ship, nor is it good on the people. I mean, you're out here on the ocean getting beat up by whatever weather comes through. That's not good for a floating city. It's not good. You need an opportunity to dock, to do maintenance, to give the people an opportunity to get on freaking land, to get their land legs back before they go back out to sea. So yeah, this is not a good thing. Somebody said, and I can't remember exactly who it was, but said something about Trump being called out, the Democrats trying to call Trump out during his first presidency, and it not seeming to work. And I said, but this is the time. I said something to the effect, this is the time, though, to support you, Thomas, that Americans need to pull all the levers of democracy. This is the time for everybody to understand that we need a change in order to put a check on the executive branch, because right now the legislative branch is just a rubber stamp for the executive branch, and the judicial branch is just another rubber stamp for both of them. So we do need something, some way, somehow, for our country to remain democratic. We need to exercise democracy, and democracy is going to that voting box, pushing that button, pulling that lever, circling in the circle. No hanging chads. We don't need no hanging chads, and going from there. You know what I'm saying? But we got to do something different. If not, I fear for what's to come, to be honest with you. I saw a report somewhere along the line this week that he got off. he being POTUS got off a plane and he was wearing a hat saying 45 through 48, I believe, or some crap like that. We already know what his intentions are. The banners were already being sold, Trump 2028. We need to stop him. We need to let him know that we are not a country for kings. We never have been, we never will be. You cannot arbitrarily decide to stay where you are no longer wanted,
Mhm.
where you are no longer needed. And I would think that even more folks, I'm watching the farmers complain about this dude right now. They're going crazy. They're literally saying this is the first time in ever that the Chinese have bought net zero with respect to soybeans from this country. That is driving people out of work. I saw a white woman say a couple of her neighbors had committed suicide. I mean, this shit is, if it ain't real to you by now, dog, I don't understand what rock you're living under. I don't understand what blind faith and belief you have. But I do understand this. I think Trevor Noah said it, and if I'm misquoting him, then please you all check me on this. Trump is the Obama for white folks. Trump is what Obama was to black people. That's what Trump is to white people.
No, no, hell no. Because what the people under Trump is getting that support Trump, they're getting the hate and vitriol that he wanted to push forward. The
But he's
all of,
their reckoning.
but hear what I'm saying. We never got no reckoning in Obama.
I
And we
know, but that's what we thought.
no, I understand, but we got to stop giving credit because what we're learning under Trump, that is, if you wanted to grab the bull by the horns and drag it to the other side, you could have, because everything that he's doing. Oh, you don't want to appoint him? Hey, he can be the acting attorney general until now. Who cares? I'll just make him not. Everything that they mastered all of the workarounds that Obama never would have done. Trump is just the Adolf Hitler of America. And we just need to be real with it. And we have to stop getting mad and letting folks saying, hey, because this atrocity happened to Jewish people, there's atrocities happening around the world to other people because of Trump right now. There's people who are being murdered because of Trump right now. The country is being deteriorated because of Trump right now. And we have to be honest about that. If we got to constantly have to have the semantic arguments with each other about what he's doing at the rate and the speed that he's doing it, we're going to forever fail. I think the conversation, and Rodney's right, about the rubber stamping of the executive branch. Like, that's a conversation that needs to be had. You have to call these people out. If you're not calling Speaker Johnson a coward, you're not doing your job as a congressional member. If you're not calling Thune a coward, you're not doing your job. If you're not calling out Tom Tillis and others because they want a job so that they can be able to go out and be lobbyists when they're over, you're not doing your job. When you're saying, hey, Boehner went out and now Boehner is in the weed business now. When you look at when these people are leaving the Congress or when they're leaving Senate, the things that they're into, they don't care about the American people. And so the American people are going to have to do a temperature check. This is what this is about. And again, no disrespect. This is the part that I do agree with some of the right on the immigrant class. We have a lot going on in this country, but we have certain duties, and I'm not even blaming the immigrants because some of them know this better than Americans do. It's the people who don't think that they should be at the polls voting. Those are the people that piss me off. It's the people who feel like they are supposed to get something here and not put something back. We're all supposed to leave this place better than what it is for the next generation. Yes, that's sir. What it means to be an American citizen. Not what you can take from this place and ship somewhere else. It's about what you can take in this place to make this place better. That's what we're missing. That is the conversation that we're missing. And when I say this about immigrants, I'm talking about the ones from South Africa. I'm talking about the ones from Russia. I'm talking about those people like Elon Musk, you know, the trillionaire that was here illegally, who made all this money, they got the nerve to want to slam the door on other people. That's the immigrant I'm talking about, Rodney, why you're looking like that. Because those are the people who are fucking it up. And we're not having that conversation because immigrants, when we have the conversation, we're moving it about Haitians and Mexicans. No, let's talk about the white ones. Let's talk about the white ones. Let's talk about the ones that's coming from Russia that's smuggling women across the world. Let's talk about that.
To
Let's
have
talk,
their babies in South Florida so they're American citizens.
come on, man. Let's talk about cryptocurrency and what it's really beefed off of. It's really something for the crooks and criminals to be able to move their money around from. Let's have a real conversation about this. Until we do that, and it hurts our community more than anything else. They are trying to make sure. I wish that if we wanted to have a holiday in the Black community, we need a cash only weekend where we spend nothing but cash. You go to the bank, you get your money, you put your money in circulation. You don't buy anything. I wouldn't care if it was a subscription or whatever that you have to spend digital currency on. We need more days where we're spending cash, even if it's once a month. Because if we keep putting our lives and what we're doing in the hands of Elon Musk and others, they don't have any affinity towards this country. They don't see themselves as Americans. They see themselves as better. So if we don't use that vote and we don't stand up and say, these are our duties, we got to fight you guys at every step of the way, even if that means that we're blocking your data centers and it means that jobs may not come. That's what we got to do, because you just don't keep feeding the beast. I just feel like the constant feeding the beast, because we're always trying to look on the brighter side. Again, that's those Zen gentlemen leading the charge. They don't want to fight. They just want to, can we all get along?
Just want to hug.
That's all it is. Go put your feet in the soil and get grounded type. We got to get rid of those people for a moment, because
not literally, figuratively, not literally.
Figuratively. We need to put your lavender away, brothers. That's what I'm saying.
So, anybody have anything else before we flip over to Luigi Mangini?
Oh,
okay.
Before we go, before we conclude the show, I'd like to talk about these frequent, Earth is shifting like booty meat.
Some of the earthquakes.
Baby, that Earth is shifting like booty meat. The Pacific tectonic plate is doing real damage, not just, so I was going to try to see if we could orient our people to understanding what's happening to Mother Earth herself, and how those plates they killing folks. They leveling that one plate is putting so much force on the smaller plates around it that it's leveling cities. It's killing folks. So for those who didn't know what was happening, I would like to shed some light on the connection between Etna, Vesuvius, because it's not just that the plates are shifting, but the volcanoes are actually spewing. So yes, I guess even Mother Earth itself hates Donald Trump. Whatever, however you want to do it, I just wanted to let people know.
The Chinese call that, Rashi, a mandate of heaven. That's what the Chinese used to call it under the earlier dynasties. When you have things like this taking place, the economy's bad, you have plagues, you have famine. The Chinese used to say that's a sign of God that you need to die and everybody with you. Okay. And I think at this point right here, there is a mandate of heaven going on with this administration. You can't look and see what's going on. And I think a lot of that is the fracking, Rashi, of them constantly trying to drill and tap out resources. The other side of it is, if you do have these data centers that's using an abundance of water, we're not reproducing enough rain for the water that's taken out. These are things that we have to really look at. And again, do we need these things? Are these things necessary? Do we need the data centers? Do we need AI as much as they say we need AI? I'll say again what I said last week. My favorite movie is The Book of Eli. And I used to think that it was a nuclear bomb that made the setting in the Book of Eli. But now the more I hear about these data centers and I see the destroying of books, because that was one of the things that was big there, and the killing of crops that's happening, not only crops, but even animals, right? Now I'm starting to see, well, hell, they might have been talking about Donald Trump the entire time. Because when you see what's happening to America, and you go and all you have to do is watch the Book of Eli, and then you go back and you look at all of the things that are happening today. And you can say, they're destroying books, classical books. Okay, check. No wonder why books are such a big thing. Water, it's a scarcity. Oh, if you add these data centers, water's about to become a scarcity. Check. Another thing. Oh, we don't even know if the cows, they're killing the cows and the chickens and everything else. So the meat ain't even safe. Check. Now that's why they were eating each other as human beings. I'm just saying to y'all, this administration is killing the earth, and the earthquakes are just a sign of them overly pumping Rashi for resources. I believe that there's a way that you can drill for oil and minerals and things, but I also feel like they're almost acting like a bandit that knows that their time is coming. And so they're drilling so much and they're drilling so rapid that they're destroying everything in the process. And even if they don't totally kill us, by the time we get them out, they will probably have permanently damaged America's soil as well as mining industries.
Yeah, that was actually one of my concerns. It was like some of the places that are shaking right now are a part of our citrus circuit because we get our, you know, pineapples from that region. We get
Mhm.
Dole and Del Monte are still heavy in Indonesia and the Philippines and stuff like that. So when you start paying $5.99 for a can of sliced pineapples, it's because their economy is trying to recover. You know, the factory itself is trying to recover from being shaken like booty meat, you know. So there are some ramifications to nature coming in on industry, and that we're about to start seeing. They're going. I feel like honestly they're going to try. They being board people on the board of directors, stockholders of these organizations. They're going to in industries. They're going to say the weather is why we have to charge you like this, like the stochastic, the
Oh yeah.
earthquakes and the wind and the blah 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 is why. It ain't that we hate you as a consumer, it's that we're having to recover from purifying the water because somebody done fucked up the aqueduct. We have to recover from the earth being over mineralized because of the first, we have to recover from that. And so now we're going to charge you recovery. And so, yeah, I just wanted us to be alert to the fact that we have actual American citizens in Hawaii and Alaska who are suffering with this, just like they are in Indonesia and Colombia.
So, um, when you say the water is going to be over mineralized, it'll still probably be better than Florida water. All right, keep going. So
Or
Luigi,
Michigan water, right?
Luigi,
Or
Luigi,
Tennessee water.
Michigan water is pretty good, actually.
yeah.
Not
They
Flint,
So,
not Flint,
so you trying to say they went into Flint and fixed that?
not Flint.
Flint's just one place in
one place
Michigan,
out of the entire
and
state.
it
Yeah.
and it was engineered to be that way. And for those of you who remember Three the Hard Way, Three the Hard Way was about the poisoning of the water supply in
Mhm.
Flint, Michigan, and
Yep.
that is exactly what they did. Is they purposely did that. They could have had good water coming from Detroit and some other places, which has some of the best water in the country, but they engineered it to be that way.
Yeah.
Moving on. So the boy Luigi Mangini pleaded guilty in federal court, Manhattan, yesterday to killing the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson back in December 2024.
Mhm.
Now the legal move is his legal team is trying to dismiss the state charges because the state charges will probably come with death penalty, where the federal charges are just a life sentence. He actually, through his lawyers, had a statement um, in which, well, no, that's not true. He actually said in court that he shot said guy, and because of that, said guy died. The statement, though, that he administered as well was that he admitted to planning the attack ahead of time, across the state lines, with the intent to kill, and using a 3D printed firearm, which included a silencer, the magazine, whole nine. His motive was because of his experience with the healthcare system after years of enduring severe pain from a broken back.
I saw
I
that
don't
comment.
know.
You can't take that back.
Huh?
No, Marlon, he made a comment and then he tried to delete it. I saw it already. It's already
No.
stuck here in StreamYard. We
Okay,
still
I
got
got
it.
you. All right. So you're funny. I get it too now. I'm seeing it. But I don't know what you feel about the healthcare system. I don't know what you feel about the killing of the CEO. I was thinking though, as we were talking about data centers, as we were talking about money being cut off in pieces, suffocated by just a few individuals. One of the things that came about after this guy's murder was higher security, more security for CEOs for companies. And I was thinking about RoboCop, how they were the I'm sorry, not they, how CEOs were heavily protected. They had their own freaking security services and all this jazz during that time as being depicted in RoboCop. And I'm thinking about this administration, how people are getting away with highway robbery just in front of our eyes. The president of the United States of America has made more than 3,000 stock trades while being president. How is the president making stock trades while being president? No other president has ever done this.
Mm,
Nowhere near that. Most have done zero,
mm,
while others have done less than 100.
mm,
This cat has made over 3,000 stock trades while being president. How is that not illegal? How is that not insider trading?
mm,
It's not, because he runs the FCC. He runs the FTC. So it can't be illegal if he's their boss. It can be, I'm sorry, that's not true. It can be illegal, but it wouldn't be prosecuted because they're afraid of losing their jobs.
yeah.
So this is the state in which we're in. You know what I'm saying? Did did you see him copping out, Thomas? Did you see him taking responsibility or what?
I do, but I think it's just more of a strategy to keep his life.
Right.
Um, that's a tough situation. And when I mean tough, I'm just saying on the outside looking in. Of course, the insurance, that CEO, his home was here in Minnesota, by the way,
Hmm.
and so he was just in New York visiting. Um, I look at what Luigi did, and I say that if we allow people to manipulate justice like that, then we could have a lot more assassinations, and there may be people who look like us that could be getting killed. So that's one thing. The other side of it is the healthcare industry needs to be put in check. And it needs to be put in check in a way where it puts people over profits. But again, you know, this is where the ballot matters. You know, I understood the protest against what this CEO did, and I can understand if it's some personal strife, but it's just tough for me to co-sign anybody just picking up a pistol and killing somebody, knowing you about to kill him in cold blood. And the thing is to stall out your life.
Hmm.
Because if you go to me, I was just having a conversation with my daughter about fighting, and I said, you got to be willing to take some to give some if you really want to be a good fighter. If you're willing to take a life, are you prepared for your life to be taken in the process? And I'm saying this because I'm understanding that this is a Caucasian male who killed another Caucasian male. But I understand the climate in this country right now that black folks are being lynched and hung consistently. And if I
Hmm.
choose this Caucasian male to kill another Caucasian male when black life is not valued at the same rate, what happens when there's a black CEO that maybe have a different disagreement because that black CEO decides they want to stand up for Trump? And that's the thing that's kind of tough in this country, because we know when white boys commit crimes, they don't always have to be accountable. They don't always have to take ownership. So I see it. I see the maneuvering, but at the same time, I feel like when he took that man's life, he should have been prepared for his life to be taken as well, because that's what comes with the game.
Gotcha. Rashi, did you see him copping out?
I was just a little disturbed by this. I was like, because I watch a lot of murder. I watch a lot of murder. Unfortunately,
Murder
I
and
love
bullshit.
I do I love when a white lady get ran over by a car. I'm specifically drawn to throwing white dudes over the side of buildings. I love that. It's something about this chucking a white dude over the side. Anyway, so I'm looking at the kill behavior, like the motives. I mean, I ain't trying to be funny. I literally look at how how you kill somebody is almost why you kill somebody.
Okay.
Okay.
Why you said
All
that?
right. So this it
Don't
wasn't
make
a
it long,
stepdad.
Rashi. We got
I know,
25
I
minutes
know.
left.
So
Don't make
so
it.
it wasn't like they was romantically involved. It's like the chain of anger seemed loose. Like when I okay, look. When you can't get your fix, you get mad at the dude with the dope. And when you can't get your love back, you get mad at the person who don't want to be with you no more. And when you
Mm-hmm.
get cheated in a business deal, you mad at the other end of the transaction. And I just was trying to figure out how this dude got mad at a dude who was so far up the chain. Like it wasn't the doctor who denied him the pills. It wasn't the people who routed his care to the wrong place. It to me it was like it seemed like we not getting all the puzzle because he's mad at somebody so far away from the actual problem that he was having. You hear what I'm saying? You get
Mm-hmm.
mad on your job and you come back when they fire you. When you call them, when they wish to go postal, they didn't. They used to shoot up the dude in the office. They didn't shoot up people on their route. When you go postal, you don't shoot your route up. You shoot the dude you mad at who fucked with your check. I feel like his anger, the amount of anger he had to kill, did not make sense to me for who he decided to kill. It is not like the dude, the hit that he cut, he did not hurt someone who had physically stopped him from. So I was a little confused. And then mostly, like you said, Thomas, I don't ever champion white killing because it's a national plague. The white man who takes his anger out with manslaughter and murder violence is a problem. And they do believe that they should be the final authority. And the final authority is, I will kill you. I will kill you, whoever you are, whatever you are, and whoever you are. They do that. So we got to fix that. We got to do something about even watching Clint Eastwood, because we've been championing it for a while. Because I love me a good Clint Eastwood, Charles Bronson flick too, right? Uh, but we need to fix that because they think that's real. So that's it. I feel like he had watched Sharky's Machine or something. He had watched a Charles Bronson marathon or something in his head said, I'm in charge of this fate. And he went to slay that man. But it to me, like I said, it was too far removed. And
Okay.
I'm just accustomed
Rodney.
to I'm accustomed to killing people who did something to me, you know?
Rodney, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think so I don't support the killing, but the concept behind it, he was spot on because he didn't go after the cogs in the machine. He went after the one that controls the cogs in the machine, the ones who set the policy, the ones who are so far removed that they can easily say we're not going to cover this because we need to make more, squeeze them in more money. So I think he went. I mean, again, don't support the killing, but I think his targeting of what the point, the statement that he was making was 100, and his accuracy was like you on the range league when they said, I don't know where Lee's shooting because there's no more holes in the
Oh,
target. And they said, oh, wow, because he's shooting through the holes. So,
you didn't have to bring that up again, bro.
hey, his targeting for his message was spot on. I would say where he failed at is that the people are so docile. And this kind of goes a little bit to a separate point that Brother Barry was making. But the people are so docile. He went and pulled this major move and didn't get the response from the masses that maybe he thought he should have gotten, because Congress should have been all over this. Why are so many people going broke? Why are so many people not getting the health care that they need? I mean, it's just a long conversation that should have been had off of that killing. Desperate people do desperate things.
Well, I would say this, Rodney, if he had made that his political stance throughout his trial, if he got on the stand and that was part of the conversation and that was part of his defense and they brought people on to make that argument, I think it would go a lot further to making him either a martyr or a hero. But again, I understand. I just worry about the idea of, if we say it's okay for one white guy to kill a white guy, then what happens when we have situations? I mean, we see what's going down in Mississippi and the games that they're playing with their young
But we
brother.
shouldn't be saying that it's okay. And I don't think that's not what's going on. Is we're saying that it's okay. Uh, I, I I think that whenever you take law enforcement in your own hands, it's always the potential for vigilantism to
Mhm.
get out of control. But I'm just simply saying the message on this, and there's a whole bunch of other people that would like to shoot up a bunch of other people because
Mhm.
they loved ones have
Mhm.
been. I mean, we had multiple situations right here through
Mhm.
malpractice, and the insurance companies sanction it. The insurance companies not allowing needed medication to be covered, or needed procedures to be
Mhm.
covered, and people have watched their loved ones um, die horrible death. So no, we should never condone that type, murder. But at the same token, though, let the conversation should have been, well, what would lead people to do it? And if it led one to go to that extreme, then maybe we should look at this and see what impact is money making when it governs the health care and lives of our citizens. What is going on that would cause people to go to such extremes?
No, that,
I,
that would
under,
require investigative journalism.
and I understand what both of you are saying. This is off subject, but not totally. I want to say I'm concerned for similar reasons that you both just discussed with the gentleman down in Georgia that was just convicted and sentenced to prison because his son shot up the school. If you start allowing parents to be charged for the crimes of their children, what is that going to mean to the inner city youth, black youth, whom are in gangs, who
More
then,
ass,
sir?
more ass whoopings, more
Yep.
punishments, more you got to read and write and know arithmetic. So we gonna send
No,
you to church on
I'm
Sunday.
talking about you. Then the parents are going to be held accountable for their children's actions, and not only are the children going to be in prison potentially, but the parent will also be in prison because the child used the firearm in connection to a capital murder, and we have a much larger problem. You know what I'm saying?
Lee, I think this is something different though, because if I'm familiar with the case, the father knew that his son was not supposed to have a firearm. He knew that. If I think he gave it to him as a Christmas gift, I
He
believe.
did give it to him as Chris.
He gave it
Yep.
to him as a Christmas gift when he shouldn't have had a weapon, period. He knew his son had proclivities to do these things. So it wasn't like, oh, a father gave a child a gun like any other father would give a responsible person. He gave someone who he knew was irresponsible not just access, but gave them their own weapon. And so in this particular case, I'm 100 with the charge. Now, do I think that parents should be charged with everything? No. But let's look at the flip side. There's a whole bunch of white racists right now who, if this guy was to have been allowed to go free, will say, oh, here's my get out of jail free card. I
Yeah.
will just go condition my child to hate black people and want to dismiss them permanently and give them a gun and let them go out and do it. and then I'll say, hey, it wasn't me. I had no involvement in this. So the other side of this, if you let this go unchecked, I think would have a deleterious effect on the killing when it comes to killing black people and others.
That's one of the words, Rodney, we were talking about. Deleterious effect. We were talking about that yesterday. So some people have commented on Rodney's vocabulary, and I was telling them yesterday how I've had a couple of people hit me up and say every time Rodney's on, there's a word that he says that they have to go to the dictionary to look up. So
Hey, I'm just trying to hang with Brother Barry.
that's it, right? That's it. All right, so let's move on because I don't want to get too focused there. Let's go to Tuesday and some other things involved with elected officials. Massachusetts on yesterday, Friday, Lawrence Mayor Brian DePina was arrested and charged with fraudulently obtaining a pandemic loan. These damn PPP loans still coming back and biting people in the ass. Using the money to fund his election campaign as well as to pay off high interest
Oh, wow.
mortgages on several of his properties and personal taxes. He's
Several
charged
of his properties.
several of his properties. One count of wire fraud, which carries a penalty of 20 years max. One count of money laundering, which carries a penalty of 10 years max. Of the he got 1.5 million in the PPP loan. 880,000 was used on the mortgages. He had another 90,000 that he funneled to his campaign to run for reelection. These PPP loans, I'm telling you, I didn't get one. People told me, it's like, you get a PPP. Nah, fuck that. Glad I didn't.
He's a Republican or Democrat?
You know what? I didn't dig into that. I just saw that he was arrested. It was interesting to me, so I wanted to bring it up. I didn't dig into that. My apologies.
I'm not mad at him about getting the PPP loan. He should go in. His defense should be, I was inspired by President Trump. And so if he ain't locked up for doing what he's doing, I feel like I'm well in my rights because I'm following the lead of the president
of the United States of America.
You know, go kick me up to the Supreme Court because they understand how this grift go. That's what I would say, right? Now, I hope he had a good time because if he's a Democrat, they're gonna send his ass up for a long time. He better have some money for that good old part. He better have at least 2.5 million for that part. If he ain't got that, his ass is grand.
So Thomas, stay ready because I'm coming to you.
Okay.
Amy Klobuchar, I know you love her. She won the Democratic nomination for governor in the great state of Minnesota. Yeah. And the current lieutenant governor, Peggy Flanagan, won the Democratic nomination to be the senator in the great state of Minnesota. Come on, bro. Talk to me. You ready? You ready for Amy to run the state?
You know what, man? I'm gonna be real with you. Amy's going to win, and out of the candidates, she's the better one, even though she has a checkered history with us. But Lisa DeMuth is a Trump loyalist that's going to pretty much, send us to Hades. So you really don't, and this is
with just gasoline draws on.
In Minnesota, the black community showed up for the midterms. Jamar put it was over 300,000 more.
Yeah, he did.
Votes than Republican votes. But the truth is, we didn't choose the primary candidates, and that's something Klobuchar should win. She is the better of the two candidates. Because I can tell you what we're going through here in Minnesota right now with our Department of Human Services. The Republicans are raising hell, and there's nothing being done. So I don't want to see DeMuth in office because we would probably see more homeless people impacted. We will see more people who need health services impacted. We will see more black businesses, and we've had thousands of black businesses that has been impacted because of the Trump administration and the lack of courage by the current governor's administration. So while I may not look at Amy as the best candidate for me, she is definitely better than DeMuth. And this is how politics work. You don't always get your person. Sometimes you just have to, hey, this is the person that's going to be in, and we're going to have to figure out how to work with this person. But yeah, we had a huge turnout, but we had a huge amount of black men locked in jail. And that doesn't make me not even hold my nose for the Negroes who was reposting the video of the mayor of Minneapolis dancing with him, because when a white boy can do a jig, it's always a good time on the plantation. We can't wait to see the plantation owner can dance. But those
Or
same
pull some
people,
hot sauce out the purse.
come on, man, but the same people that's posting about him doing his jig and saying this is our mayor, they have no comments, they have no conversation for what's happening to their people over there at Heritage Park.
All right.
Damn sellouts.
So what about Peggy? What you think about her?
Peggy Flanagan. I know the rumor is that she lies a lot, but in my opinion, I think Peggy Flanagan. She's always been a respectful woman. Every time I've been around her, and that's all you can go off of is how people treat you. She's always been kind. She's always been respectful. And look, man, I think I like her better as senator than Klobuchar. I do.
Right.
I think, the only thing that I don't like about the switching is that we as a state lose that senior positioning that Klobuchar had. And, let's keep in mind, how Klobuchar became senator. It was the Me Too movement. Al Franken, because of a joke that happened 20 years prior, and Klobuchar promised to only run one term. This is something that always gets swept up under the rug. Before Joe Biden, it was Amy Klobuchar who gave the promise, and she kept going. So I guess now that we have Peggy, and Peggy's Native American, so this is our first Native American senator in the state of Minnesota. So, we'll see how that works out, and I think she'll do a good job. I like her better than I like Michelle Tafoya.
Okay.
I only know Michelle Tafoya Lee, Rodney Rashi from ESPN.
From Sports Center?
Yeah, from Sports Center. And she wasn't that memorable there.
I agree with that. All right. Let's go to David Crawley and let's go to Wisconsin. Neighboring state of yours, bro. So this brother dropped out of the race 30 days ago. Dropped out of the race 30 days ago. It seemed like all the wind was behind the sails of Hong, and she was going to just cross the finish line. He was begged and pleaded to jump back into the race, which he did 10 years after 10 days, 10 years, isn't it? 10 days after jumping out. And he managed to capture the Democratic nomination for governor of the great state of Wisconsin. This brother was in the middle of planning a summer vacation. Like he about to go on the plane to go to Jamaica. He like, man, look, I'm good. This campaign stuff over. Let me go ahead, get with the wifey pool, get with her. We're gonna make her right because she been pissed off because I've been out here all kinds of hours and days. So let me get things right. This man jumps back in and he wins. African American. He would be the fourth African American governor in the history of the United States of America. Uh, right now, Westmore is the third. He would be if he and Westmore win. Obviously, it would be the first time that there's two black governors sitting in current
Don't forget, Nevada has a Democratic nominee for the governor here.
Okay, brother, that's right. I'm sorry, I forgot. So we have the potential of three serving all at the same time.
Yeah.
There was a immediate call for reconciliation after he won because there was some infighting, as we know. This has been a heated moment for the Democrats and what they want from their party, and it seems to be, Thomas, you called it right. They want fighters. They don't want people that are just going to lie down and toe the party line. This is why Sister Jasmine Crockett got a raw deal, but that is what it is. Currently the polling is saying that the seat is leaning Democratic, so he has a very good potential of winning the state. I want to see if these cats are going to fight though, and how they will fight if and when they are elected. I'm corrected. You're right, Marlon. I apologize. There are four because Keisha Lance Bottoms is here in Georgia. You are absolutely right. My apologies. My apologies. Huh?
In the booty state, and her last name is Bottoms. I'm just saying.
Well, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Establishment versus the fringe, if you will, was the continual theme through the primaries this year. And when I say fringe, I mean the Bernie Sanders wing of the party, if you will. Not necessarily somebody who was crazy, but just the Bernie Sanders wing of the party. So we'll
Well,
see what's going on.
activists don't make good politicians. And I think that's something that we really have to think about, the aspect of what's happening with Crowley. Crowley's in the Midwest. I told you guys when Trump first got in, there was a lot of suicides with white farmers inside of Wisconsin. They want to turn away from this whole MAGA thing, but they're not ready to have these genderfied bathrooms yet. That's not their speed. Crowley is, a a black man in this space is perfect. He may vote left, but he's more moderate than the average person, and that's what you need inside of Wisconsin. That is the environment. The activist governor, that's not gonna really get, because they have things that they need to get done in Wisconsin, and especially in Milwaukee County. Per capita has the highest per capita of black men locked up in this country. So
And
when
he's the former county commissioner
yeah,
of Milwaukee County.
I met him 3 years ago when I went to the One Water Summit inside of
Mm.
Milwaukee. And so this brother has been pushing forward for a long time. He comes from humble means. He comes from there. And so he's going to do a good job if he is elected. I will say this, and Rodney's hinted to this plenty of times on the week. There is an issue with the DSA movement in black men, though. And sooner or later, we're going to have that conversation. The DSA movement in black men, there's problematic. And I think part of it is because, let's be real, they have to make themselves feel like they're public enemy number one. Well, it's hard to be an imitator when the originator is in the room. And so
Mm.
they have to discard us. They have to discard our plight, because that's the only way that makes them look strong.
All right, so we need to wrap. I'm gonna slide this in real quick, then I'll shut up and let everyone say what they need to say so we can wrap. Mary Settler Paltalo from Alaska. She has pushed back on the endorsement, I'm sorry, from Kamala Harris. Don't know why that is. I'm gonna do some research on that. We may talk about that next week. But that was a dust up that I did not see coming. Yeah, I don't see everything. I'm not the oracle. Uh, Rashi, what you got? What you want to end on?
I'm just gearing up, fellas. I'm getting my classroom ready, getting my mind ready, getting my body ready, because I had laid here. I had laid here so bad I fucked my mattress up. And so, but then look, something happened wonderful in my life. My TV broke. My TV broke. So I'm taking this as a moment like I'm being plugged out of the matrix. Somebody pulled my feeding tube out the back of my neck. The TV is broken, and so I'm looking forward to what do I put instead of television?
Okay,
Instead of television, think about that.
Thomas, what you got?
I got the Watch app is official. I need a little bit more time, Lee. You try to close out. The Watch app is officially inside the Apple Store, and in 2 weeks will be inside of the Android store. So I think it's official. If you want to, Lee, if you want to try it out in Android, you can hit me up. I can show you how to do it. We have to test it out there for 2 weeks. But my team is already in Android. They love how it's impacting their phone and the usage of the app. But man, I'm excited. I'm excited for America. They just found another young brother chopped in pieces inside of Mississippi. And I will tell you, if you think you don't need the Watch app in this current political climate, you are fooling yourself. I don't want to hear about us talking about what we need to do. Listen, this is what we can do. We can stay connected. We can let our family and friends know where we're at. And the Watch app can do that for you 24 hours a day. It's by us, it's for us. We own everything to it. And it's another way for us to make sure that we are taking care of us.
There you go. Ronnie, what you got?
Yesterday was the anniversary of Social Security being signed, and I would encourage you all to look at what Social Security was originally designed to do.
I need my money.
Yes.
I need my Social Security money. They didn't hit me too much. That I had to figure out what that was all about when I first got my check. Who is these people? But I need my money.
Who the fuck is FICA? Look, y'all be good. Y'all be safe. No one's told you they love you. We doing a damn thing you can do about it. Until next week. Yeah, I'll still be here next week. Till next week, family.